Alright guys, I just wanted to give you kind of like an update on the boat build that I was doing. I picked up this boat that was a 10.6 foot boat. It's called a water tender. It's made by Bass Tender. It's a fiberglass V hull. It's rated to take a 15 horsepower motor. There was a guy selling it. He wanted like 1,500 for the whole setup, but I didn't want the motor, so I talked him down to like 800 bucks, and he gave me just the boat and the trailer. So right now it's just rigged up with a temporary motor, but later I'll be putting probably like a 5 horsepower motor on it. But this is what I've done so far. When I got it, it was completely empty, and I didn't know if any of the electronics worked or anything, but it had a clean title and the trailer was in decent shape, so I went ahead and picked it up. But here's where I'm at so far. Alright, so the first thing I did was I spliced the wires for my trolling motor here, and I've got a little Minn Kota 30. Later this was going to be migrated to the front of the boat, but I did splice the wires to go into the quick connect over here. I put in a fire extinguisher and mounted it to the wall. I do have this I added a couple of these around the boat. I've got one in the front and then one in the back too. But just to hold like random stuff, fillet knives and different things like that. Everything is drilled to the boat, so it's not going to come out or fly out going down the road. I added 2 vertical rod holders, one here and one over here. I added a cutting station for my cut bait and another fillet knife mounted to the wall. I did add 4 of these. I've got one on all 4 sides of the all 4 corners of the boat, and they're adjustable. I got them from Amazon. They you can kind of adjust them whichever way you want. We've got 4 dock lines, and then I added this Velcro holder here so that they don't fly out when you're going down the road. I was able to get all of the lights to work. I didn't really have to troubleshoot or do anything. I plugged it up and all of them worked. This boat really has no storage, so I wanted to rig it so it was really easy for me to get in and out of the water without having to load things in and then put it in my garage. I had to stick with 10.6 foot boat because I basically have a very limited space in my garage, as you can see. So I've got a couple anchors. These are from my kayaks that I used to have. I've got a couple fish grips over here. And then this little baggie's just got like off and a little fish ruler, and there's a gaff hanging there too. So I added a bungee cord, and I mounted basically all my gear along the walls in Plano shelves. So it's pretty cool. It already came with a couple rod holders, these side rod holders. I don't really like them too much. I might replace them with something else later. But pretty much everything works. I cleaned up all the wiring behind this. The nav lights work, front and back. Was able to get them to work really good. I had an old fish finder that I was going to put in a kayak, but I never did, so it's brand new, and installed it and ran the transducer. But it works perfectly fine. I took it out and tried the fish finder, and it was giving me good hits on everything, and it seemed to work good. I got a very large deep cycle battery, and I rigged up a solar panel on top of it, and it's probably not really going to charge it too much, but you know, I just had that laying around, so I figured I'd go ahead and do it. I also rigged up a quick disconnect here. So one of the most annoying things is having to take your battery out of the boat when you're putting it in your garage, so I didn't want to have to do really anything. So all I do is just connect this up to a battery tender. When I'm out in the water, I connect it up to the solar panel. Another thing I remember about fishing is like having to ask people for different things, like can you pass a pliers or stuff like that. I'm trying to build this so the passenger really doesn't have to ask for anything. So I mounted like different things here, my extra pair of pliers, scissors. The passenger will have their own cutting board as well. I mounted this to an old cooler and another fillet knife right up front here. I had to put a cooler in here just because I often catch fish that are bigger than the dinky live well, There's a little live well here, but this is mainly just for bait. So, I mean, you're not really going to catch, be able to keep any big fish in there. Maybe a bass or something, or maybe even a 20-inch fish, but anything bigger than that, you're going to have to throw it in a cooler. So I'm just going to use this for basically bait. Right now I'm just using it for storage. The bilge pump and everything, or the live well pump, works, so that's pretty good. I added this bungee cord to keep this this cooler down here. You know, when I'm driving, I take this cooler off, but when I'm out in the water, it'll be up front. But all of the front lights work, and the trailer was in good shape. I still need to take apart the bearings and get them all greased up and everything. But already taken it out a couple times, and it seems to be good. He threw in a spare tire too, which was awesome. And then you've got a few more rod holders here, and then you've got a space for the front passenger to put whatever tackle or lures they want to hang off of there. Another dry storage box drilled in for like cell phones. This is my solution basically to not really having room to put like a tackle box or anything anywhere. So I just migrated everything to these waterproof cases. In this front one, this is all saltwater soft plastics that I have, and I sorted them out by color, mainly DOA shrimp and everything. And you've got over here, this is all like freshwater jigs and more freshwater lures. I mounted my stainless, or not my aluminum pliers here. These are lifesavers. I also put in a paddle mount. I use basically Atwood mounts to mount these up straight to the wall for my paddle, just in case if I run out of batteries, which I hope that never happens. But this bar on the bottom is actually the light for the back for when you're parked fishing at night, and it actually, everything works. So I plugged it up and changed. All I had to do was just change the bulb for that. These other lockers are basically filled with sabiki rigs and, you know, hooks and different things like that. Most of my lures and weights and everything are all in these other Plano boxes. This one is just filled with fluorocarbon and fishing line and everything. And then I have a dry storage here for myself, for my phone. This is supposed to be a dry storage box. I don't really trust it because it doesn't have the gasket here anymore. So what I did was I just basically put emergency stuff in here. In each one of these bags I have like a whistle and net kit, and these are all from when I had 2 kayaks. There's also a couple signaling devices, a flare, and like a couple air horns and stuff in there too, which is, it's good to have just in case. But it's pretty much all done. The only thing that I really am longing for is a motor. So I've been shopping around, and I'm really debating on whether or not I'm gonna go with a 5 horsepower gas motor or just go crazy and get like a 15, because it can take a 15, but that motor will actually be mounted in place of where the cooler is, and this probably, I'll have to probably find a different solution for this cooler, but it does have another plug which is right down here to hook up that trolling motor. So perfect little fishing boat for 2. And most of the fishing that I do is like in lakes and inshore, so I don't really need like a big boat. This is basically a poor man's fishing boat. I think it's a little bit better than aluminum flat bottom, plus since it's fiberglass on the bottom, it's a little bit more quieter, and I can stock the reds a little bit better in the flats, because those aluminum boats are pretty loud and the redfish are very skittish, so you kind of have to like really sneak up on them. But yeah, I may add a like some sort of umbrella or a bimini top later, but as of right now, this is a lot better than the kayaks that I used to have. So, but that's the update.